Hello and welcome along to my hometown. Welcome to the historic city of Lincoln. Today I'm staying in what I think is one of the very best budget hotels in the city of Lincoln, particularly aimed at business travellers, salespeople and people who don't want to spend too much money out of their company budget. So remember, this channel isn't about five-star luxury. We're talking about basic hotels that aren't going to cost too much money but are perfectly adequate if you just want a night or 2 nights, good sleep in a nice quality hotel without spending too much money. Today I'm staying in the Ibis Hotel in Lincoln. I've stayed in many budget hotels in Lincoln over the years and I think this is just about the best. So I'm going to begin by giving you a room tour, but please keep watching until the end. This is really important because I'm going to give you some very useful tips and advice if you do decide to stay here. But first of all, here is a room tour of the Ibis Hotel in the city of Lincoln. Well, the first thing that is very important to say about Ibis hotels is they don't seem to be as consistent as Travelodges or Premier Inns. So what I mean by that is if you go in a Travelodge or a Premier Inn, you're fairly certain of what you're going to get no matter where you stay around the country. But in Ibis, I've stayed in some Ibis hotels that are very different from others. Now this one I'm staying in is in Lincoln and I think it's fairly typical of Ibis hotels around the country, although I've stayed in Ibis in London and other big cities where there have actually been quite a few differences. But this just gives you a rough idea of what you're going to get at a standard Ibis hotel. So first of all, one of the things that they seem to have at nearly all the Ibis hotels, which I think is a lot better than Travelodge, and that is the metal kettle, which I think is so much better than those grotty plastic ones that they give you at Travelodge. You tend to get metal ones at Premier Inn, but unfortunately Travelodge give you these metal kettles. Even sometimes I've stayed in some of the super rooms at Travelodge and they still give you a plastic kettle. So Ibis are better in that respect, in that you get a metal kettle. I think the courtesy tray is also slightly better. They never give you enough coffee or milk or anything, but you get more if you go down to reception. And I think that's typical of any budget hotel, whether it's Premier Inn, Travelodge, Ibis, all of these budget brands. They don't give you a lot to begin with, but they all seem very happy to give you more at reception. You get that kind of desk lamp. They're all different according to where you stay. But it's pretty standard, whether it's a Travelodge or Premier Inn. I've noticed the televisions at Ibis tend to be smaller than what you get at Premier Inn and about the same as Travelodge, sometimes slightly bigger. This is quite a good TV. It's a Philips TV. I did notice when I was watching television last night that they seem to have more channels for some reason. I don't know why. But although it's just the basic Freeview channels, more of them seem to be working. And I've noticed that at Ibis, the televisions do seem to be slightly better than what you get at Travelodge. And also you get more channels for some reason. Absolutely no idea why, but there do seem to be more TV channels at Ibis available. I've no idea why. If you have any idea, then put your comments in the box below, but I certainly can't fathom out why they give you more working channels. Television itself, 24-inch here. They are variable. You can stay in some Ibises where they're even smaller and some where they're bigger, but generally you get like a 24 or 28-inch TV. Premier Inn, I think, are better. They tend to give you 32-inch or even bigger, especially if you stay in the Premier Plus rooms at Premier Inn. You can get something like a 40-inch TV. So television, about the same as Travelodge, but not as good as Premier Inn. Now, one thing you do get at Ibis is a hairdryer, which I think is really good. You can get them at Travelodge, but you have to ask them at reception. In the standard Travelodge rooms, they do not provide hairdryers. So if you want one, you have to ask them at reception and they'll give you one. Premier Inns always do have a hairdryer. Even in the basic rooms at Premier Inn, you always get a hairdryer. Okay, storage space is very good actually. I think it's a lot better than what you get at Travelodge, much better, because you have somewhere to put your shoes, and I brought along my laptop case and my camera equipment, but there's plenty of room there if you had a suitcase. A big suitcase would fit there. But also plenty of storage space here. and quite a big desk, and you've also got quite a reasonable sized wardrobe area. One thing that all these budget hotels seem to do is not give you enough coat hangers, and I mention it in every single film that I make. They just don't seem to provide enough coat hangers, which is really annoying. So I've literally got 5 coat hangers, which is fine for me because I'm on my own and I'm only staying for one night. But if you were here with a family, maybe 2 of you, 2 partners, some kids, 5 coat hangers is just not enough. It's quite a big wardrobe area, plenty of space, but just not enough coat hangers. It wouldn't cost them anything. But this is a standard problem throughout every budget hotel, whether it's Ibis, Travelodge, Premier Inn, the lot of them, they never give you enough coat hangers. But apart from that, plenty of storage space. I do like a mirror. You can see me here in the mirror. So it's good to have a mirror next to your hairdryer. And the heating situation, again, is very variable depending on what type of hotel you stay in. Now, this is a fairly new Ibis hotel. It's not brand new. It has been open quite some time, but it's newish. And all they've got is one of these really old-fashioned electric heaters, which does seem to be quite standard, actually. I've stayed in a lot of Ibis hotels, and they seem to have these electric heaters. But obviously, it's not been doing the job properly because they provided another one. So they've actually given you one to plug in and one there as well that's built into the wall. And I suspect the reason for that is simply because customers have complained and said I'm not warm enough. So they've provided another one as well. Again, they do that at some travel lodges and also at Premier Inn, but it does seem to be a feature of Ibis that they do seem to have this kind of heating. And then you get a kind of a standard bed design. I find this a bit old-fashioned, to be honest. But it's all right. The bed itself is very comfortable, and then you've got the lighting at the side, and they all have variations. Personally, I prefer the lighting system at Premier Inn, which I think is a lot nicer, a lot more modern, a lot more swish. But here it's more of an old-fashioned style reading light, but it's fine. It's okay. Now, one thing that is very different from Premier Inn and Travelodge is the mattress. And this is actually, in my opinion, and it is just my opinion, but I think that is a really good positive about Ibis. And you probably haven't guessed what I'm referring to, but this is actually a major difference. If you stay at a Travelodge or a Premier Inn, you get a big, thick mattress. And sometimes it can be very comfortable. Sometimes they're not so comfortable. Now here at Ibis, and I've noticed this, certainly the Ibises that I've stayed in seem to do this. They actually give you can see my hand there, they give you quite a thin mattress, but then they also give you a mattress topper, and then on top of that you also get mattress protector. And I prefer this myself. Now, it is just a matter of taste, but I quite like having a thin foam mattress and then a mattress topper on top of that for 2 reasons. One, I find it more comfortable for sleeping on, but also another reason I like it, I think it's more hygienic because they don't have to keep changing the mattresses. They've just got that mattress topper. So from a hygiene point of view, I think it's a lot better. If I lift that up, you can probably just see the mattress there, and then here the mattress topper, which is quite thin. But obviously if this gets dirty, it's not dirty, by the way, this is immaculately clean, but if it does get dirty, then they just change that and you can keep the mattress. And so I found, and I don't want to make too much of a generalisation, but I found that when I stay in some travel lodges, the mattress can be dirty. And if you look through some of my other films on YouTube, you'll see a few examples of hotels I've stayed in where the mattresses are really unpleasant. But this is better because, like I say, if it does get dirty, then they can just change the mattress topper. They don't have to actually change the entire mattress. So I think it's a more hygienic way of doing it. And I also find the bed much more comfortable at Ibis. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm not saying that they're not comfortable at Travelodge, but I think the beds at Ibis are a bit more comfortable. I find the rooms a bit more basic, to be perfectly honest. And it's only a cosmetic thing, but the carpets are a bit basic, a bit dusty as well, to be perfectly honest. The furniture, a bit older, although this is possibly just because this hotel is in need of an upgrade. And the walls just very, very blank and plain. Not that it really matters, it's only a cosmetic thing. But at, well, at Travelodge and at Premier Inn, at both, you'll get like a picture above the bed, and you'll just a bit more, a bit nicer cosmetically. This is very, very stark, because it's a big room as well. It's very spacious, which I'm very pleased about, but it's just a little bit stark. It could do with just some pictures or something. One final point, and again, I don't want to make too much of a generalisation, but I have noticed this at Ibis hotels. The soundproofing is never as good. The windows here need a clean as well. A bit dirty, these windows. Now we're right next to a big bypass, very busy road. You can hear the noise outside, I think, quite well. And you've obviously got two sets of windows, but even when I close them, you still get road noise. And I have noticed, certainly at Premier Inn, the amount of road noise is much, much lower because they have absolutely superb soundproofing. And you just don't seem to get that at Ibis. I have no idea why, and again, I'm making a generalisation because I'm sure there are some Ibis hotels that do have better windows. But just as a generalisation, having stayed in numerous budget hotels of all the big budget brands around the country, I just find that Ibis don't have very good soundproofing. It just seems noisier somehow. Premier Inn are absolutely excellent. All the Premier Inns I've stayed in, they have superb soundproofing. And likewise Travelodge. But here at Ibis, and I've stayed in a few where I thought, gosh, this is noisy. They need to improve the windows. So that, again, it's only a generalisation, but just generally speaking, I think Premier Inn and Travelodge are better for soundproofing. Final point, which is, it might seem nothing at all, or it might be important. It's important to me, might not be important to you, but that is the awful chair. And I have noticed that all the Ibis hotels I've stayed in provide a really awful desk chair. Now, if you stay at Travelodge, you get a kind of a bucket style chair, and Premier Inn have an even more comfortable chair. And if you stay in the Premier Plus rooms at Premier Inn, they have an absolutely wonderful desk chair. And that might not be important if you're just a sightseer, a tourist, just staying overnight somewhere. But if you're on business, and I often travel on business, I want a nice comfortable chair that I can do some work on. I want to stick my laptop computer on there, and I've got my desk lamp there, and I want a nice chair, and I really wouldn't want to sit on that for more than about half an hour because I'd get really bad backache. That is so uncomfortable. And it wouldn't cost them much just to provide a nice office chair that you can sit and do some work on, especially if they want to get the business market, which is a more lucrative market for hotel goers. I mean, at the end of the day, business people, if they're on an expense account, if they're running their own company as I do, you know, you take your expenses out of your company budget and you go and do some work, and you want to be able to sit for a few hours in a nice comfortable chair. So for some people watching this, it won't matter, but if you're a business person and you want to sit at a desk and do some work on your laptop, then that chair is absolutely not suitable. I think my overall impression of Ibis is advantages and disadvantages. I certainly give them extra points for the hairdryer. I give them extra points for the bed. I certainly give them extra points at this hotel for the spaciousness, because it is really spacious, it's wonderful. But not so good on the chair, and the furniture just looks a bit old and tired, and I have noticed that at most Ibis I stay at, it's just a little bit more old-fashioned. Finally, just have a quick look in the bathroom. Now, these are very variable depending on where you stay. So again, the proviso that not all Ibis are the same. They tend to be less consistent. But this is a lovely shower. I really like it. It's the style that has the hose, which I prefer. And if you want to know why, watch my other films on YouTube. Nice mirror set up here. Again, see me. I like the way you probably can't tell from here, but there's like 3 mirrors in different directions. So if I go close up, I can kind of see myself 3 times. So that's fine. The shower's good. Nice spacious bathroom. Nice spacious room. I think where Travelodge win out, to be honest, is on things like soundproofing, the chair, perhaps the TV. Premier Inn, I would say, in most areas are better in terms of quality, more modern, better facilities, but unfortunately higher prices. Well, That's my phone ringing. So one of my clients is ringing, wants to talk to me. I've got to go, but happy travels. And if you want to put your comments in the box below, I'd really appreciate it. Tell me what you think of Travelodge. What do you think of Ibis? And what do you think of Premier Inn?